To another edition of Great Health, Abundant Happiness, and Outrageous Love.
This is the romance edition.
Oh, it's a romance edition. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about tips for romance and working together.
That's not always easy, as you might imagine. I kind of grew up working with family, and the funny thing is when you work with family, it's a little tougher. I think when we started working together, my excuse was when I was talking maybe a little rough to Karen that, hey, I'm talking to you just like I'm talking to myself because we're one. And we're really hard on ourselves, I think, in business when you get stressed, right?
I think so. And also, when you're, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but when you're, uber motivated, right? Which can sometimes
maybe excited. By the way, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just you might be really motivated and passionate and
Right. And what's funny is, I just want to say, so you were brought up working with your family and they all work together, relatives, etc.
Yeah.
And I was brought up with the motto, never do business with family or friends.
Right.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
And I remember when we came together, we actually had that conversation and we didn't work together in business. For the first 18 years, I think, of our marriage, right?
At least. Yeah, maybe even more. So we started.
We've always worked together.
Yeah, we started a company and you dove in and did some. You took a great position in the company to help with some things, we're able to step out once we sold that company. I went back to work for the man once we sold the company. But now we got a lot of things going on. So we're working together every day. Every day, when I say every day, 7 days a week. We say every day is Saturday. So you guys see a lot of our videos. We're not sitting here crying like we're cranking away at the grindstone. We really enjoy ourselves. We only do what we want to do. We work when we want to work, and we work with whoever we want to work with, and wherever we want to work from, kind of a thing. So, which is great. But because of that, we are working 7 days a week, and every day is like Saturday. So we can ski 7 days a week too, and have cocktails at 4 o'clock every day of the week if we want to. I know you won't, but I'd like one.
Yeah, well, and that's what makes the world go round. Speaking of cocktails every day, and this is just a little diversion, we'll get back to the point. We just read about this woman from England. Her name is Grace. I can't think of her last name. And she's
the oldest person in Great Britain.
She's 112, and she's absolutely lovely. And when she turned 50, she started having, what does she call it?
Oh my God, I'm going to say it's like a little tussle, or there's some kind of, I'm sure it's an English term, of whiskey.
Of whiskey. Every single day since she turned 50.
One night, right?
I believe she said at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
She started at 5 o'clock. And so when she went for her last physical, the doctor said, Grace, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, there is the plug for having that.
Whatever you drink a day. I think, Blue Zones are all about it, but Grace is my new hero.
Right.
You brought this up, though, this video, because of shout out to Ashley. She did an interview for it.
Right. So big shout out to Ashley Rowland. Please look her up on LinkedIn. It's Ashley, Rowland. She is an amazing woman and a force to be reckoned with in the telecom industry. If you need help with your business, all of our agents are amazing. Ashley is just really leading the pack right now, and she also is she's a magnet when it comes to LinkedIn. I mean, she releases these videos, and people are just super intrigued.
Right.
So the one she released today happened to feature Jeffrey and I, and it was about love and working together, and how to make that work and make that happen. I thought it was such a great video, and because she's on LinkedIn and not on YouTube, we decided to kind of do a repeat of it, since I am certain we're not the only couple that works together.
Right. Exactly.
And or the only couple thinking about working together.
Well, I would say too, it doesn't have to be about just working together. It could be the stress of two people working two separate jobs and coming back home to discuss it, and they're trying to save money for something, or there's a lot of stress today with couples out there when you certainly talk about money and stress in a job environment. So working together is the specifics, but you certainly can apply some of these techniques just through let's say stressful times or trying times as you're trying to get something done, whether it's positive or negative. It could be really positive.
I just want to hit up that stress over money, and we are going to do a video solely on that this week, because that is something that Jeffrey and I have absolutely never had an argument about in the history of our 29-year marriage, and I believe a lot of it is the way that you look at it. So we'll do a separate video on that. We know it's out there because we hear about it, we've read about it, we've seen it happen. It just hasn't happened here. So we've got some great ideas and thoughts on how to maneuver within a marriage on that. Right. So back to the point at hand, some of the things that we want to share, the keys and successes to keeping a romantic relationship while working together. First and foremost, Jeffrey and I start every day just worrying about us, just focusing on us. And we don't start our day infiltrated with business, work ideas and
emails,
thoughts.
Phone calls, texts.
Right. So we do get up very early, and we do what Jeffrey calls the golden hour, which has now become the golden hours. We do our positive motivational program. We meditate. We go into the sauna. We do some of our fun YouTube stuff because that to us is super fun. And then we segue into our work day. And what's amazing about that is we love what we do. So it really is a fine line between having fun together and working together. It's only when we put the pressure upon ourselves that we get a little snippy sometimes, right?
Yes. Well, and unbeknownst to us, and in all fairness, that happens when, this is kind of a deeper conversation, when you just kind of get entrenched in the ego, and the ego remembers all about the self and pride and competition and all that stuff. That's the ego. So when you get locked in that, it's pretty easy to do. Like, I'll just, make something up. But like, we're trying to get 5 things out the door at the same time. I'm working on 2 over here. Karen's working 2 over there. There's 1 more. We have to go do this. And she's trying to throw it on my plate, or I'm trying to throw it back on her plate. When I say throw it, it's just like, hey, someone needs to take care of this. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm pretty sure she would say to me, well, I'm working on this now. I'd say the same thing to her. And then, this could turn into a big, F you if you're not careful. Right. And, you have to be respectful. So what I can tell you we're both learning to do, and a lot of others out there are learning to do, as you start to try to become more enlightened, it's a battle. You've got to rise up above the ego. And it's kind of funny, you're laughing because, and that's the way you should handle it. You should laugh because you should be able to step back and just look down at yourself and the ego having these conversations. It's just ridiculous. Right. Is it really that important? Exactly. It's like, who cares about all 5 things that you're all worried about? Right. None of it's going to matter in 5 years. So why are you getting all worked up, and why are you having harsh words with the person that you love most on the planet? Right. That's the funny thing about it, right? It is funny. And I think it does take some time and some skill. Our daughter was working on a project with her fiance, hey, Taylor Ann, and I know that it's stressed her out, but there's a process of learning how to work together, right? And you and I have gotten really, really great at it. I think in the beginning, there were a lot more challenges because one person maybe thought that they were the boss and the other person didn't want the other person to be the boss. There's that going on, and I think then when you get into your own rhythm, you realize that it's a partnership, and that's really a key ingredient. Right. You did quit a lot, and the good news is you're still here, thank God. But yeah, you quit quite a few times. I quit often whenever I didn't feel appreciated. You
I
know,
do.
but she would quit for like 15 minutes, and I'd see her over there back on mail or start working again.
Well, you know,
She's
it's
fun.
really hard to quit when you absolutely love what you do, right?
Right.
But every now and again. So we just saw this with our daughter and her fiance. They were working on a project together, and it's, I think, the first work project that they've done together. And it was a freelance, so it's not something that they consistently do, and I'm not sure they'll do it again. I don't know. But after the fact, you know, we had some discussions about it, and I explained to her that you know, it really wasn't that important, and that there's no reason to stress over it. And I think that's the key also,
Right.
is don't get so stressed out that you can't focus on, you know, what it is that you're doing. Instead, you're focusing really on what you can't get done, right?
Yeah, and I think that's important. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to hit, but I'm just going to summarize those two things, because those are two really big things. If you can get this down, you know, you can wipe out a lot of the stress or abrasiveness between you and a loved one in your life.
Right.
You know, number one, Karen mentioned taking your time out for yourselves. First thing in the morning, take care of yourself first. Pull in all the positivity you can. Do your meditation. If it's going for a run, we like to go to the sauna. We do yoga and some sit-ups and things in there. You know, whatever it is, you got to take that time for yourself,
Right.
and then ease into the day.
Right.
So you know, you might say, hey, well, you know, I don't work for myself. I have to go check in, punch a time clock. If that's the case, you just have to get up earlier to do that. I mean, I've done this pretty much my whole life, even
Right,
when
but
I
we
was
are
working for the
talking
man.
about working together
Yes,
in
yes,
romance.
yes.
So that's sort of a, you know, although there's plenty of people that have romantic relationships in their office, and I saw that on Ashley's post today.
Yes.
So many people had met their significant other.
Right.
There were some great stories of people that had met 10, 20, and 30 years ago, and they're
Right.
still, you know, happily together. So
Right.
that
It's
was
great to hear that.
really great to hear. And then, as Jeffrey's saying, again, you start the day off, and you want to make sure that you always end the day together. Forget about work at the end of the day as you're winding down. If you have a routine, whatever it is, if you like to, you know, journal at night or watch, you know, positive motivational videos, or, you know, sit down and veg together in front of the TV, or have a deep conversation, meditate, whatever it is, as long as it's something that you're doing together.
Right.
So
Like you've got a crazy show. Let's not mention what it is, but you've
Yeah.
got a crazy show tonight that I know you're all excited about.
I do.
I'm excited to
I do.
be with you and watch it. But you know, I gotta say that
It is the only show that I watch when it's on. It's not a you know, on all the time.
Yeah.
So it is a fun thing for me, and I won't say the name of it, but I love it because I am such a lover of love, and I will really stand behind anything that
Yeah.
stands behind falling in love, because I'm such a believer in that. And again, thanks to you, because of, you know, all the great stuff that
Yeah.
we have together.
No, that's great. But so I just thought about that tonight, because that's
Yeah.
what we're doing tonight. And I'll get my glass of wine and we'll sit and I'll watch it. But anyway, I didn't want to cut out the middle. So
Right.
yes, start out with the golden hour,
Mhm.
and yes, finish. Karen's right. If you can kind of shut down, whether you work together or not, business, turn all that stuff off and focus on each other. Light a candle if you can, and have a nice dinner, and relax into your night, and make sure you get your sleep. But in the middle of the day, again, going back to, you need to step outside, step away from the ego,
Right.
and you know, go to the higher self and just look and say, is this really important? I mean, most things that we get worked up about in life, if you ask yourself, is this going to be important in 5 years? The answer is usually no.
It's almost always no. And I think it's really important too to have gratitude for your partner in the workplace. You know, we both work really hard, and sometimes we'll go on appointments together, and I'm so impressed with Jeffrey when we're in an appointment, and see the smile that he has right now. It's this simple gift of gratitude, letting your partner know that, wow, I was really impressed. You did a great job. That's so important. And just because you're working together and sometimes things get harried and you're busy, don't forget to do that. It's unfortunate that that doesn't happen more in
Right.
the workplace, you know, anyway, because they've done studies that people who feel appreciated give a lot more of their creativity and time and effort than people who don't. And I just, think that that's super important. So respecting each other, letting go of the ego, stepping back and not, letting the ego drive yourself within that working time, and gratitude for each other for the hard work that they do each day. Anything else you want to add to that?
I think that's it for this video. I think it's good.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us again. I want to shout out to Ashley Rowland on LinkedIn for putting the video up of her interview with Jeffrey and I today, and that inspired us to do this YouTube video.
Thanks, guys. Go ahead and click off here right up between us, and we'd love to have you on board, and love to hear your thoughts about this, your own stories about working with a spouse or a significant other. Love to see it.
Wishing you great health, abundant happiness, and outrageous love from the Nest at Copper Mountain.